Hi everyone and welcome to my studio. This is so exciting. My name is Gideon and I'm also known as Gideonslight, and I'm here to be your creatively fit coach. So grab your canvas, grab your paints and your art journal and join me in my studio as I show you how profound it can be in your life if you allow some space to be creative. So join me now as I show you how. Hello everybody and welcome to my studio. My name is Gideon and I'm also known as Gideonslight, and it is my joy and privilege to share with you some creative practices that you can do at your home to increase your creativity and just help you to exercise your right brain and develop that creative intelligence a little bit. That has tremendous health benefits like reducing your blood pressure and bring down the cortisol, stress hormone in our bodies, because we release serotonin when we play with color and when we are having fun creating something. So hopefully you have been following along on this 5-week creative jumpstart series that I've been presenting every Sunday. So I'm so excited to finally get to week 5, because today I'm going to be showing you how we are going to put all of these beautiful papers that we created over the last 4 weeks together, and I'm going to bind it and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that to create interesting little art books like this that you can then use to collage in and to just continue your creative practice by playing with color. In this sense, I really spent some time with a particular color, and then I created these art books focusing in on a specific color, like this is the green one. And then later, when I come back to it and I want to collage in this, then I already have a great underground or freedom layer to play with. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, just look at that. The color alone should be inspirational. So I am going to show you guys today how to bind your art books like this and to create your own. So for today, you will need the pages that you created over the last few weeks. We played with some of the contrasting or complementary color schemes, and we played with some shapes. I also introduced you to a very easy way to create an abstract artwork just using the palette where you dispense your pages on. So for today, you will need those pages. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Hit the subscribe button and hopefully like this video and share it with your friends. You can just use any recycled paper that you have, or any paper that you have at hand is really useful. I even played with newspaper before. And in this case, I just put a layer of white acrylic paint on there. I didn't even use geisha, but you could. And then I created all of these little exercises on there. So you can just check out my channel. There is 4 other sessions that I already explained all of this. So then you can get started with that. You will need some twine or some, what should we call this? Cotton. And you will need a needle as well. Sorry, I couldn't remember that word. And if you're going to collage straight away, you will need maybe a Pritt stick or a glue stick, or you could even use your acrylic gel medium as a glue to glue any other collage pieces down. I also like to play with my crayons and with my oil pastels to just continue the journey in the art book. But today I'm going to show you how to bind these pages together and begin to create your art book. So join me as we go down to the table where I will show you exactly how to do that. So I'll see you now. Right, we are down here on the table and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to use these pages to create these beautiful little art booklets. I'm so excited. So just wanted to share with you, here's my yellow one. I just showed you guys the green one. Just gonna drop them out of the way. Here is one that I created just playing with black and white. And you can see some of them I've started working with my collage and some of them are just new beginnings. Here is one I created with the color violet. And that was also quite a lot of fun to just put these together. So you can see how playful these art books can be. It can be an immense source of inspiration. This is my brown or my neutrals, naturals. And here's some of the exercises I already did in here. I always used to say I don't like brown, but I discovered in this process how much I actually enjoy brown, because like this is one of my personal color palettes and this brown really relates to orange in some way. So orange and turquoise and blue is my thing. So this was quite a lot of fun. I even had used a jelly print here on the front. This is my red book. And here I played with jelly prints, stencils, other pages. I even put some craft paper in here. This is another jelly print. You can see how I played with various materials in here already. So that's a lot of fun. Here is the one I created that I'll show you just now. Here's my blue one. You guys saw this one in some of the other episodes. That was fun. Here's my orange one. You guys saw that one as well before. I just love these colors. So you can see when you don't know what to paint, how you can come back to these art books and, you know, become inspired by little modern pieces that you created here in your little art book that can inspire you. I mean, this could be a painting all on its own, right? So that's exciting. So I wanted to show you guys my original booklet that I created out of these pages. And here you can see I used some of the tape, the masking tape that I taped my zones off, and I used it here in an interesting way as washi tape. And I added another little art element there as a focus. Don't worry about these acrylic pages. This is all experimental. This is how I learned about, you know, using paper palette sheets, because these vinyl ones tend to want to let go of the paint after a bit. So that's no problem. It's all experimental. But pay attention to this beautiful background and some of the art pieces that I added to it collage wise. And this became a little meditation booklet for me where I place some images of Buddha. I love to paint the Buddha, and how I started to use this as a background for an interesting little art book. So here's another piece of collage I added to the page. This is a fantastic little piece of wax paper that had a negative print of my stencil. I placed my stencil on it while I was working on another project, gave it a good wipe, and when I lifted it up, it had this immaculate little print of this protea, but there was already like a smear of turquoise and yellow and red on there. So I tore that out and I saved it because that just became a beautiful collage element. So this could be a painting. You know, you can see how you can become inspired by playing with these pages. This was my orange and blue original barcode exercise, and I had this amazing procession, Tibetan procession with the Buddhist monks, rite of passage, and I just thought it really came home on this page. So that can be so inspirational. Here you can see one of my previous little collage exercises. Here I did a little somatic writing, and I just combined this all together. So you can see how inspirational and inspiring your little art book can become once you get going with it. So I hope that has inspired you now to go and do your exercises and to bind these things together. So now this is one of the things I do in my studio when I've played with a project and I've now accumulated a bunch of things that I saved or that I worked on. And now I want to clear my studio. I want to start with a new project. This is one way then to bring all your pages and papers and wax papers and protection sheets. Let me just turn this one around quickly. This was the watercolor paper that I used on the wall for all the videos. There's still some of that tape on there. So eventually that will become a background for one of our pages. Right, so now the first step that you need to do is to select how many pages you want to bind together. Now it all depends on, you know, how strong you are, if you can pull a needle through all the pages. So I say, you know, don't do more than maybe 10 pages. So let's select a few. You can make more than one art book because I did like 2 pages for each exercise. A blank page might be a nice one to put on the outside. So let's consider that like so. Now some of these, just want to put that together. There will only be one, so let's put one of them there and one of them in this one. These 2 pages of that. There's only one of these. Let's put that one that side, but let's put this orange one this side. Let's put that blank one there. You see, I'm just distributing the pages I created between the 2. And let's choose that top pile. I'm just going to put these aside for another day. Now let's take these pages, and now I want you just to see if you had to close this in a book. So this outside one is a blank one. Okay, maybe not that one. That one is torn. So you can grab the other one that I've got down here somewhere. There you go. Yes, one that is whole. So let's say we put that on the outside. You can see as I bring these pages together, we already have a booklet. So now before we bind it, I want you just to page through this and sort of see what elements is already on the page. And if you turn the page, would this story complement the follow story in some way, either in a contrasting way or leading up to the next page, because the color scheme could be similar. So maybe this one will be a better second page. Let's put that one in its place. And this exercise followed nicely on this one. So if these pages were to follow in each other in the book, would that support the booklet? Yes, because the color scheme is complementary. So going from the blues and the yellows, let's see what we have here in our stash. Maybe this page will complement the previous one best, leading from the blues, browns and oranges into more blues, and then we have some violets here. So then maybe this violet and yellow exercise will flow through nicely into that one. Then I think this abstract will work well after those. Circles leading into circles. That's one way to repeat it. And then the violets and the yellows and the reds and even the greens are all here. So we've got these colors. And then last but not least, let's put this booklet, this last barcode page in the middle. So now we're going to fold this closed. Now that we've worked out the sequence of pages. Now here's the exciting bit. You don't just have to use these pages. You can add other paper in between as well. Like you saw in some of the other color books, I used color papered or cardstock or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be the same page size as all the pages. They can be smaller, longer, it can be torn, it can be straight. You can be as creative as you want to be. So once you have your pages assembled and you feel that it is all aligned very nicely, you can give it a bit of a good crease there just to indicate where the middle will be. And you can have anything that's extra, you can just tear off or you can keep it. I quite like these edges. So I hope you guys can see clearly. Oh my word. It's just me that will come on camera without having a piece of cotton string inserted in my needle, but that's no problem. Let's see if I can still do this. I learned this from my husband. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. I'm just going to try this off camera quickly. Right guys, sorry about that. So I got my string pulled through after a bit of patience. So I need you to just consider the length of your art book. And make sure that you can at least, 1, 2, 3 times length of your book should be enough cord to bind your booklet. And once you have enough rope or cord or string or twine, whatever, even wool is a way of doing that. So I am going to get to the middle page. So now my little score here will help me to get everything aligned. So I want you to take your little books, just get your pages nice and aligned, holding it in the middle. You can even use some of these clamps to clamp the paper together so that they don't move. We're going to start on the middle, on the outside of the art book, and I just pushed my needle through all my pages right in the middle. I hope you guys can see. And I'm going to pull the cord through on the outside, not all the way, but have some of it hang in the middle. Right. Then you're going to jump all the way to the top and you're going to put your needle all the way through. I'm going to show you guys now. Just make sure that this is tight. So on the outside, we are now on the top part of the bridge of the book on the outside. Now, just want to take hold of it. On the outside, we're going to jump all the way to the opposite end of the booklet on the bridge of the book. Yes, push your needle through and pull that through and pull it tight. look on the other side to make sure that it's nice and tight, but not so tight that you start to rip your pages. Now remember, this is just an art junk journal. It's not supposed to be perfect, but with practice it can become, you know, absolutely perfect. Now you jump all the way back into the middle, into the same hole where you started, and you pull that through nice and tight. And on the outside of the book you now have these points that you've brought together. You can see mine has moved a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to liberate my needle, and now I'm just going to make sure that they are pulled nice and firm but not tearing into the page. And now I'm just going to bind these on the outside by doing a little crossover knot. Left over right and then right over left. However, there we go. And we have a little booklet bound into an art book. Now you can see mine isn't perfect, but I think it adds character to it. So if you take care to just clip your pages together with a clamp and take a little bit more care with your holding and movement of your pages, then everything can be perfectly aligned. And there we have it. So then you can just go through each page and just give it a good press down to just score the page where you want it to fold. This is going to be fun. And please, you guys, share, take a photograph, share it with me, show me your art pages as well. Obviously, you can also take care that all your pages face the right direction. But for me, you know, these pages are not completed, so there is no upside or downside or whatever for me yet. So I will create that once I get going with my art book. So there you have it. If you bind your pages together like I showed you, then you have created yourself an art journal, art junk journal, where you then can begin to play and have some fun with your art book. So as we go forward, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a weekly prompt on the group as a little, you know, post, and then you can use that prompt to begin to play in your art journal and begin to enhance and create more interesting pages. So I just wanted to show you what I did again. Like, this is what I mean with using some of my, you know, markers and my Sharpies and my oil pastels and even some of my crayons. I would then, you know, use inspiration out of the page and say, okay, how can I enhance this page? What kind of pattern or line work can I create that's interesting to me? So I started with the orange and the red over here, and I just created these organic lines that started to move outward almost like a weave. And once I was done with it, I thought a contrasting color like blue and all its various shades would be interesting, but I wanted something different. So the opposite of square linear lines would be round organic ones, you know. So I always try to see how I can bring some contrast to the page, and that created a beautiful focal point that I can either leave like that or I can play further with it. Some of the pages I painted with a complementary color. This I did like a metallic background and I put some neon paint on there. I just imprinted it on there and I allowed it to dry. And when I came back later, when this was dry, I added my collage elements on top of that. So you can see how you can use paint to do reverse collage or negative collage in order to improve the paper. Here's a good example of where I used tissue paper that I stained with paint, and the tissue paper becomes transparent when you collage with it and you use your acrylic medium to bind it to the page. So all that you see is the paint, but the tissue disappears. You can see the exercise I did underneath as an underlayer. This was a jelly print that I had on a page that I tore out and I collaged on top. So you can see how each page can become a total exercise and a journey into that color that can then later inspire you to create another artwork. So I wanted just to show you guys what I like to do. So here's some tissue papers. Some art supply stores sell individual sheets like this. Then you can just buy one. Sometimes I have to buy a whole pack, and that's cool. This is one that I already tore some of these elements out, these corals. So you can see how tissue paper can become a world of inspiration that you can collage with. So I just wanted to inspire you with that. So this little booklet, I decided you can also use previous artwork. Like this is some of my previous watercolor series that I did on Tara. And this is done on wonderful, watercolor paper. So, you can use, old artwork as elements of focus in your booklet that will completely transform the artwork as well as the booklet. So these are just some of my Tara watercolor paintings that I did with Whitney Freya. When we did the Tara course the second time, I decided to paint the individual manifestations of Tara in watercolor, and that was quite a wonderful journey that really took my art to the next level. So you can see how you can use previous artworks like this as a focus point. You don't even have to use the whole thing. You can tear off sections. That becomes really a wonderful element to play with in your artwork. Or else, if you have lots of magazines, this is a library of inspiration that I can draw from. This is my husband's library of magazine clippings that he collected over the years. Let's see what's in here, just to give you an example. Oh, I love this. So you can see where I get all my Buddhist imagery that I play with in my collages. This is literally from old National Geographic magazines. All of these photographs I absolutely love. So this is an endless supply of collage material that I could incorporate in these booklets that can transform them into little meditation books where you can write your mantra down and you place an image of the Buddha or a temple or something like that. I find it very serene, and for me personally, it is the way that I practice my Buddhism. My meditation is through collage and through painting and through spending time in my creative practice. I really find that is my Dharma, and it brings me incredible peace. And I know that if somebody looks at that going forward, sorry about that, it will be inspiring to them as well. So, if you've got old magazines, really, you can take the time to just sit in front of the television, watch a movie, and just rip out, pages that you find interesting or beautiful. And then you can store these pages in a library like this, so that when you play with your art book, then, or even your art journal. I've got an art journal here that I'm going to start playing with on my YouTube channel. I've got this little art journal. It's actually a sketching journal, but I love these pages. So I'm going to start playing with the prompts that I'm going to be sharing with you guys weekly. I'm going to do a demo of that week's prompt on my YouTube channel. So do remember to find me on YouTube. You can look at Gideonslight and you'll find my YouTube channel, and you will see the series that I'm going to start to create there. I plan to do a weekly episode, and then play with a prompt that I have as an example of journaling, and then that journal page can then become an inspiration for something bigger, something grander and more exciting. So I hope that you guys can begin to see where I'm leading you as far as creative practice is concerned. Not everything is just going to be little boring paint exercises. But you know, we have to begin somewhere to create our own material, because it can be quite expensive to go to an art store and you know, buy all of these papers and things. And I say, you know, it's fine to buy one and then have something that is inspiring you, but then create your own material to play with and to build on top of, because that is already an inspiration, a start off point to say, okay, what am I going to do today? Okay, let this purple and blue smear of paint be my starting point. So let's do that right now so that I can get your guys' creative energy flowing, so that you guys can see exactly what I mean with what we can create in our art books. Right, let's look at this tissue paper. I think that can be very complementary, but before I grab the first one I see, this one can also work. Ooh, I actually quite like this a bit more. Okay, let's play with this one. Just want to get you guys started a little bit so that you guys can see where we are headed with our little playful things. Now I have these plastic folders as well. I wanted to show you guys. So I've got one for some of my previous watercolor paintings that I don't think worked out. But there's nothing wrong with the color, so I can keep this color on this fabulous paper and use it as an art element in collage later. So I keep all of these elements together in a folder like this, so that when I'm looking for something magical, I have, you know, something available that I can pull out. Just like this, for example. That can be fun, definitely. So let's keep that one out. So I just want to put some of these things away and create some space here for myself. Right. So I wanted to show you guys how we can play, for example. Let's create some interest on this page by using this tissue paper. Now when you do play with these tissue paper, remember not to stick the whole thing down. You only need the top layer, so it does take a bit of, you know, patience, especially if you don't have nails. Now some of them have 2 layers on top of the original, so make sure that you only need the print on top, otherwise it will be too thick. There we go. Come now. Gotcha. Right. 1, 2. So pull that off. This can also sometimes be a fabulous negative print, but we'll play with that on another day. And let's see how we're gonna get this down. Now I've got a watercolor pen around. This is just a aquarelle watercolor brush with some water in here. I'm just pressing it to activate the water flow. Why is it not coming out? There we go. You can see the water on my hand. So This way, because the tissue is quite thin, you can make a separation or a line in the tissue like that, to then easily tear the tissue without tearing the whole thing into shreds. There you go, and then you can put this away with your stash to play with another day. I'm just going to grab my glue on the other side that fell off my table. Now you can use your acrylic gel medium to put this down, but it can be very wet and you need to give it enough time to dry. So for the demonstration purposes today, I'm just going to use some glue stick. Really, this is just an art journal. I don't intend for this art to last longer than my own lifetime, so I'm not too worried about that. So let's just get a good layer of glue down, and when you have little pages like this that's sticking out, you can just use some of your wax paper or baking paper to protect it. Or you can just use a kitchen towel like I did now, making sure these corners are glued a lot. There's a good layer of glue down. So this is the fastest way to collage, is just to use a glue stick, especially if you're going to use thin paper. If you use thicker elements, then it might be a good idea to use another glue. And then I just align these tissue paper on there, and I can just use my credit card, which was just here and now I don't see it. My supplies has disappeared on me. I've been cleaning out my studio a little bit. So you can just see I'm just pressing down this paper, and that already is a new page added to our collage element. Oh, collage book, listen to me. I'm having so much fun I don't even hear what I'm saying. This was just a jelly print that I did, and I used literally one of my incense holders. On the back of it there's this beautiful design, so I just pressed it into the paint. Let's just tear out this one circular element. And I'm thinking we need some of these other colors behind it. Let me see what I have here that we can use. I'm just digging and seeing if there's any blue and purple that might work on this page. That can work there. You see, you can just hold your paper that you're interested in. Ooh, there's another circle on top of it, and see if it will enhance your page or not. Now there's many options that you can play with. I like what we pull here. Let's see. I don't like this hard edge, so I'm just going to tear that off, so that softens it a little bit, more like a vertical element. Do I want it like that? Do I want it like this, diagonally? It's sometimes fun to have another line mirror or repeat, but that's too much in the middle. So let's take it over here. So then this almost could mirror some of the flower images, because this color connects very well on the opposite side, and the blues connect here, and then we've got some of these violets and pinks over there. And how can we use this tool? Let's tear a little flower. Now if you tear onto the paper, you'll have a white edge. That could be interesting. If you don't want the edge and you tear away from the paint, there, like I did over there, then it's more, the white is on the underneath. Like that. Oops. That looks interesting. I think I must cut the center out so we can see. Sorry, I'm just getting my scissor out here. That could be nice there. That could be interesting. I like that. The whole point of collaging and playing in your art book is also not to overthink things. This is where you can experiment and play a little bit and, you know, see what can be created by, you know, using an element in a specific way, and suddenly you have a whole new, you know, inspiration happening that you would never have thought of if these elements didn't come together. Right, so let's glue this down. I'm just gonna use this paper here now. So when I started with collage, when I did my Creatively Fit coach training, it was still that, you know, typical idea of collage where you rip photos out of magazines and, you know, sort of everything you like, and then you try and stick that together in an interesting way on a piece of paper. But, you know, I always felt like that didn't look like art to me. It was too busy and magazine-y, and I didn't enjoy collage at all until I learned to look at collage in a whole new way, in an abstract playing kind of way. And I learned a lot from Robin McClendon. You are absolutely welcome to visit her page on YouTube, because she is a master as far as journaling and collage and jelly prints and all of that is concerned. So I really learned a lot from her, and her approach to collage has really liberated me and empowered me to have a creative practice with a whole new focus. So I deliberately put this circle off center because I think that is more interesting than to put it splonk in the middle. So that gives us a bit of movement as well. So I'm still deciding, that's cute, where it would be most interesting. I think I want to highlight some of this yellow ochre that connects with this, sort of have a little bit of all three there. And I think this gives me movement like that over the page, and then the leaves turn this way, bringing me back to the center of interest over here, and then this background leads me up and out. So I do like the way that the movement on this page is working out. So let's just glue this down. Let's find that spot over there, like that. I sometimes just like to use my tissue paper as well, just to press the new collage element down. I hope you guys can see. Yeah. And this way the glue that's on my finger doesn't get onto the collage element, and I can work that collage element down nice and firm. And there we have it. We already have a first page in our new art book done, or at least to a stage where, you know, we could add something, or we might leave it. I even like the way that my tissue paper is sticking out at the bottom, because when you close the book, it really adds to this rough edge that I quite like as a texture in this little art book, because it's perforated pages. You see? How much fun was that already? One page already done, and it took us a few seconds. So you can see how exciting it is going to get when you get your pages done and you bring it together in a little art journal like this. So going forward, I think I'm going to continue to play in this new art book of mine, and I will definitely be sharing with you guys a weekly prompt. So again, next Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, tune into the channel and I will discuss the next week's prompt with you guys. And I can't wait to share this little jar of secrets with you. So while I have you guys on here, this is so exciting. I've created little prompts for myself on little cards like this. Go off canvas, play with charcoal, add circles. So sometimes when I'm playing in my books or even in my paintings, when I get stuck, I like to just draw a card out of this little jar of mine. Let's say, for example, this one, rectangles. Then I will take some medium and I will just add some rectangles in an interesting fashion. Those are more square, aren't they? So let's go for rectangle then. And I won't even freak out if my rectangles aren't perfect, because, you know, I might discover a shape that I never knew I liked until I made the shape. So, you know, there is such a thing as happy accidents in your creative practice, because, you know, these kind of things allow you to discover new things about your art, you know, sense that you would have never thought about before. That looks cool. You see, the possibilities are endless. Oh, I've just switched to making interesting circles. So you guys get the gist. I have so much inspiration and things lined up to share with you guys. So if you stick with me and you push through, we will create beautiful little art journals, and your creative practice will go from 0 to 100 in 50 seconds flat. Because you can see how if this is lying on your coffee table and you have a bit of glue there and you've got a piece of paper that you can tear, you can literally create something to add to your page in 5 seconds. So the whole thing of I don't have time for creative practice does not have to be the spell that is the beginning and the end of your creative practice. I hope that you guys are inspired and that you see that really 5 minutes a day, 30 minutes a week, whatever you have, 2 hours a month, can be phenomenal in just going to the studio and getting out your art supplies and playing with it and creating something exciting. Even if you never share it with the world, however, you must share it with me. Even if you keep it for yourself, you know, in the end, it is something that might prove to you that creativity is something that you can develop by just giving yourself the time to do so. So I want to thank you guys so much for spending the last 5 weeks with me. I hope that this creative jumpstart has really shown you that creativity has an endless supply of inspiration. Once you open the door for that in your life, really the sky is the limit. So tune in again next week Sunday when I share our first prompt with you that we will take to our art journal. So thank you so much for tuning in, and please drop a comment if you have any questions or compliments that you want to give me and what you've learned out of this series. Thank you to those guys who private messaged me. I really appreciate it, because you guys have given me the courage to keep going and to work on developing my craft, my offering, and my skills as a creatively fit coach. So I'll see you guys next week when we begin to play in our journals. See you then. Bye bye for now.